Are you married or in a committed relationship looking for real advice on having love and enriching your relationship? You are in the right place. Welcome to The Couples Expert with Stuart Fensterheim.
Hello, and welcome to the Couples Expert podcast. This is Stuart Fensterheim, the Couples Expert, and welcome again to our journey of finding a pathway to having that kind of relationship where both of you feel so important and significant to your partner that you never, ever, ever question whether or not your partner kisses their lucky stars that you're in their life. And that's really what this is about. This is about a podcast that really demonstrates on a regular basis where we all get together once a week to really talk about our marriages, our relationships, who we are as individuals, our idiosyncrasies, all the things that sometimes get in the way of us really letting our partners know exactly where we stand and how important they are in our lives. And it can happen so quickly, can't it? And one of the situations that recently came up for me with my wife is I was reading an article in the Arizona Republic, and it was an article about counselors, and some of you may be very aware that we recently had a slew of killings, murders in Phoenix, and they were attorneys and a couple of the individuals were counselors. And I was talking with my wife about my thoughts and feelings about being in an industry, a relationship with her, and having myself involved in the mental health industry. It's an interesting dichotomy because here we are as therapists helping people, and we typically are involved with people that have sometimes significant problems. And these individuals sometimes go off the deep end. Let's just talk about reality here. And the reality is that when that happens, it can be scary for a counselor. And I was sharing some of those thoughts and feelings that I was having. And my wife had a small little comment that she made that she thought I was overreacting. And when she did that, I got really angry with her. And I talked about the fact that it felt to me that she was minimizing, and all I wanted her to do was to just acknowledge that that must be really hard for me. And that's not the angle that she took, because the person she is she's very upbeat and positive almost all the time. And I got a little bit annoyed when she said to me, I think that you're overreacting. And the reason she said that was that she wanted me not to worry so much. And I took that as discounting my experience and my feelings, and that trigger pulled us apart temporarily. Now, we've done a lot of work on our relationship, and we've talked about the emotional connection and the things that sometimes comes up for each one of us that pull us away from one another. So we were able to have a dialogue that just was about making sure that both of us felt loved and important. And it changed everything rather quickly. But so often when we're in relationships, we struggle with that. And we then begin to feel like our partners don't see who we are. And I want every single one of you listening to this podcast to have the ability to turn to your partner at those moments of disconnection, as I was describing earlier about my wife and I, and turn them into moments of connection, where we can say to each other authentically and vulnerably how important we are to one another. And you know, one of the ways that we do that is we celebrate certain occasions. And this podcast today, I've titled The Gift of Birthday Sex. Getting to have sex on your birthday and having that lovemaking be different than every other day. However, when I first thought about having this episode, I was excited about sharing some of these concepts, but I realized something. I might be dismissing something even more important. What I might be dismissing is the gift of birthday sex is only important, only works if you two as a couple have worked on your relationship every other day of your lives together, 364 days of the year, so that that day, that is your birthday, when you make love with your wife or husband, it's a day of recognition that every day is wonderful. So if we don't really state that right here on the forefront, everything else that I'm going to say about this isn't important. The most important piece here is giving to your partner of yourself every day. And that means being the most authentic and vulnerable person you can. And that's why I wanted to start off this podcast episode sharing that experience that my wife and I had. Because the dialogue that we had turned into the most intimate dialogue that we had all week. Because what we were talking about more than anything was our hearts, our souls, and our minds, and how much we loved one another. And how when something doesn't go smoothly, it is the most painful experience for both of us, because there's no one in our life that's more important. And unless you say that in words and in actions and in deeds, that sex that you'll have on your birthday will not be about making love to your partner. It will be a physical act. And the last thing you want is to celebrate your birthday with the person that you love in a way that isn't about giving your physical body, your mind, your heart, your spirit, and everything. So the erotic experience that you might have on your birthday, because that day is a day of celebration, that the two of you are in this world together, sharing your love, sharing your passion, sharing your body, so that the touch that you have is electric, that the sex that you have is exciting, even if it's not the best sex that you've had with your partner. It is the most exciting because it's a celebration. You celebrating moving forward in your life together with your partner. Because the gift of birthday sex is not just about giving your partner sex, but giving to your partner in very, very meaningful ways. This episode is sponsored by Stuart's Daily Notes. Stuart's Daily Notes is an email newsletter from the couples expert that will improve your marriage in 5 minutes a day. Small things can have a big impact on your relationship over time. Sign up for Stuart's Daily Notes. It's a resource of tools, videos, exercises, and more. All done by the couples expert, Stuart Fensterheim, with 30 years of clinical experience working with couples. Delivered straight to your inbox. The best part about it, it's free. Sign up today. Go to www.thecouplesexperts.com and change your relationship every single day of your life together. Now back to the episode. So let's talk about this concept of birthday sex, Because what it really is about is saying, I love you in many, many ways. That I want to give to your partner something fun, something meaningful, so that you, on this day of acknowledgement of your birthday, that you feel especially loved, especially important, especially wanted, and especially desired. That it will be a special gift where you are the most important person to your partner, and that the focus is on what you need to feel excited and turned on. My hope is what you need more than anything is to just have each other there. And that what this is about is talking about, anticipating, being excited about the lovemaking and the romance that is going to be the pinnacle of celebrating your year together, your life together, your friendship together. You know, I recall as a kid, one of the most fun things about my birthday was that we got to just not do that much. We got to sit back and be king of the castle, or queen of the castle if it was my sister. And that we were the remote commander. We got to decide what we watched on TV, and we were in charge also on what we ate that day, what the dessert was, and we got a break from our chores. We didn't have to do them. We were the king of the castle, and everyone around us, the peasants that had to do our beckoning. Now, as adults, we don't quite get that, though, do we? Because we still have responsibilities. But what we can do is set up a scenario having to do with the romantic adventure that the two of you have with one another on this special day. One of the best ways of doing that is to set it up so you are anticipating your lovemaking. It's something fun that you can do to tease your partner in the days leading up to the birthday, flirting with your partner, letting them know that you've got an extra special night planned for them, and playing it up with notes, with texts, the anticipation of that night, that day, that weekend, depending on how you're going to celebrate the birthday, is half the fun. And it becomes so meaningful if you do certain things that you know your partner really appreciates. So that if you're leaving a note in their car talking about what might come, if there's someone that likes surprises, don't tell them exactly what you're going to do. If there's someone that likes to get worked up by knowing things, tell them the things you're going to do in multi-visual ways. What I mean by that is find songs that express some of the anticipation of the night. Find pictures. Send tweets. Find poems. Every single sense that you can come up with, find a way of communicating your love and excitement about that evening to your partner. Think about all the senses: sight, smell, sound. Find an ability to communicate and send to your partner the anticipation of the evening in all those ways. Maybe some perfume that you know your partner loves. Maybe a cologne. If your partner is into felt, cutting a small little piece of felt, which is going to be the kind of dress that you might wear, and slip that into your partner's pocket. If you're someone that likes scented candles, send them a candle. Those are the kinds of things that we want to anticipate. We want this experience to be something that your partner is going to feel rather quickly, that you have not rushed this. This is something that you have been planning for a while and has set into motion things like that. One of the ideas that I've talked about in the past for Valentine's Day is setting up a sexy treasure hunt, having your partner basically follow some clues that take them to different places that ends up with different kinds of gifts. So maybe you've set it up where there's some regular kinds of small little tokens with some larger gifts and maybe some sexy gifts. Maybe you find a condom somewhere and it's a condom that lights up. Or you have certain types of sexy attire that your partner picks up. Like one of the fun ones that my wife actually once did for me, it was a pair of underwear that looks like a tuxedo. So when you put it on, you can get the image, but basically it had a bow tie and all the other things that come with a tuxedo covering my genitals. It was so much fun to receive it. And it just made the night more exciting and more fulfilling, knowing that she had thought this through and had done something that was so fun. Because what my wife was aware is that what I wanted is a celebration of our bodies. That was part of what the birthday sex was for us. And some of you like that, but some of you like quickies. So maybe that's the style. Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, we're done. Now let's go have a birthday somewhere. You have to be thinking about what is your partner's desires, because the message here is we are going to celebrate your birthday based on what you like, and that I'm willing to give of myself and my body to help you have that experience. What type of sexual activities you do during that lovemaking experience should also be part of that. If your partner is into role playing, set up a role play. If your partner enjoys oral sex, set up a scenario that includes that. Maybe a different location. Maybe you decide that you're going to go and find a hotel somewhere. Maybe there's going to be public displays of affection. I'm not talking about having sex in public. But if that's something that you and your partner engage in, and you know that's a desire of your partner, that would be a wonderful thing to do. Put some thought into it and do something that sends and communicates to your partner that you've thought about them, not just this morning. That this has been something that you've been planning for a while. How about the environment? Or have you done things to set your environment up so that it is a different kind of environment? I highly recommend, if this is going to be something that you're going to do on your birthday and you have children, that the children aren't spending the night with you. Send them to the grandparents or friends, have them have sleepovers, do something, have a staycation if you want. You don't have to go somewhere else, but the children should not be in the home. You should be celebrating your birthday with your partner in a unique way that's just about the two of you. Set the scenario up in the home, if that's where you're going to be, that is unexpected, playful, and more importantly, very sexy, with perhaps buying some light bulbs that are red, that sort of has the red light district, or finding things that you can do on the bed that's going to be really pleasant, nice smells, and that your partner would find very, very pleasurable, such as rose petals. You can get rose petals at flower shops, and if you come in earlier and you spread rose petals all over the bed, when you and your partner return for the evening, you have that there. I recommend that you do different kind of scenarios, meaning not just sit at home. I think you should have a number of different activities, going out to dinner somewhere, maybe going to a movie, coming home to a very nice, wonderful home that's already pre-set up. The two of you should maybe have some drinks before you go to lighten the mood up. Take an Uber or a Lyft so that neither one of you has to drive. Let the pregame show, mind you, the atmosphere and the experience be something where the two of you are in the best mood possible. We're talking about setting this up. And if you and your partner have been struggling a bit for your relationship, I want the two of you to have an agreement that when we celebrate each other's birthday, we put it all away. We recognize that we're working on things in our relationship, and yes, there may be stresses, but that this is the day that we get an out. This is the day that we put it all aside. If you're unable to do that, you need to work on that before you have this celebration, because this doesn't work unless both of you are on the same page with this. But I want for you to set up the scenario, the environment, in a way that is so meaningful to the person having the birthday. Doing things that are going to be fun, sexy, and most importantly, surprising to your partner. If you know that there's a fantasy that your partner has, try to live that fantasy out. Try to do that fantasy for your partner. But if it is a fantasy that is somewhat intimidating to either one of you, this is not the time to do that. Those need a lot of discussions and some safety. So I would not recommend doing that for this birthday celebration. If your birthday involves having a party with other people there, I think you need to let your partner know that your plan for them is going to be that the two of you will engage and get naked right after the last guest has left. And that the two of you could talk about things that can happen that can make that experience even more fun. So one of the ways of doing that is flirting with one another throughout the party. And let it be known that you want to end the party at a decent hour, making an excuse about getting to bed early, because the last thing that's going to happen is you're going to go to bed early. Your partner will know why, and you're going to surprise them with this party for two. No matter what you plan, the purpose here is not just to have a sexual interlude. That's what I want to be clear about. It's about giving your partner something special that they know is all about their needs, and that your love for them is having you set this up so that the two of you really understand how important you are, and that you're willing to engage and do the things that you know your partner wants, needs, and would love to do with you. And that it's really just about giving your love to them. And that whatever sexually goes on is less important than the love that you share. And that you are their gift. You are the gift. You can tie a bow around your neck, your waist, or another body part that has them know and has them feel that everything is about you wanting them to feel loved, to feel important, and that you turn them on and they turn you on. And that most importantly, that you love the fact that the two of you are in this world together, sharing everything that you can about making each of you feel sexy this special night. The point is to make your partner feel especially loved and important, but not just on their birthday, but on every single day of your life together. And letting them know in words and in actions and in lovemaking that what they bring to your life is the joy that the two of you have found each other in this whole big wild world, and how much you love them and want them to know how important you are to them. Thanks for joining me again this week, and we'll see you again soon on the Couples Expert Podcast. Bye-bye now.
Thank you for listening. This episode has ended, but your journey continues. Head over to www.thecouplesexperts.com to access all the links and resources mentioned in this episode, as well as bonus content exclusive to podcast listeners. Enjoyed this episode? Why not hit subscribe now and never miss an episode?